What's up, YouTube? It's late night. I'm doing a quick video, ultimately an answer to a subscriber's question. I decided to make a video for him. He's about to pull the trigger, or maybe he did pull the trigger on this particular platform, which, if you don't know, is or was originally a Rovin 305 FT, which they don't sell anymore. They sell it now as a 32cc platform, so it's called the Rovin 320 FT. Mine, of course, is in disarray right now. If you've seen my other videos, you know why and you know what's going on. So I won't get into that. The video is about the Baja platform and the common failures, some of the things that you would need to do right off the rip. I know there's a lot of videos out there about that, but this particular subscriber is asking me, so I'm going to make a video and answer him. And I hope maybe it helps some other guys out. I know I really didn't find the answers I was looking for as far as the budget I was on initially when I got my first rig. In fact, I tried to run it without a kill switch. Don't do that. Yeah, one of the things that you absolutely, without a doubt, have to do before you even start to break it in, because trust me, you'll end up running it. You'll get antsy and you'll run it. If it's in the mail, wait. Just wait until it's here, install it, and when you do install it, I'm going to mention this first, because this is another common issue with this particular platform and fifth scales in general. Because of the way this engine is designed, the coil bolts will back out and the coil will fall on top of the flywheel. Don't let that happen to your new Baja. You'll be sad. It'll sit on a shelf. You'll have to spend more money. You'll think your engine's blown. Who knows what you might be thinking. But needless to say, there's two bolts in there holding that coil on. The coil sits above the flywheel, literally with it sits above it by a business card. So there's very little room between the two. And if you haven't seen or know how to install a kill switch yet, I'm not going to get into that. There's plenty of videos out there. In fact, I believe I even made one. But when you install your bolts, make sure you use Loctite. I would even go as far as to say, and some guys might say I'm nuts, use red Loctite. They're being installed into the engine, which is going to get hot, over 270 degrees. Blue Loctite is not going to do the trick. If those bolts back out, you're going to have an issue. It's definitely going to leave you having to pull your engine, your fan cover off and put it back on, possibly even destroy your flywheel. Who knows? Don't let it happen to you. When you install your kill switch, use Loctite. Make sure those bolts are in there right, and that the washes that come with it and that are placed in the proper places. I believe it's front and back. Just make sure you do it right. So that's one of the common issues with these rigs and with fifth scales in general when it comes to these engines. But yeah, make sure you run a kill switch. You don't have to go Killer RC. That's what I went with on this. I run a Hillentronics iKilly 2 kill switch on one of my other rigs. And I believe there's a Dynamite kill switch that's relatively cheap and does the job. Hillentronics has a few different options when it comes to their kill switch. I know the T1, I believe it's called, is a great switch from what I understand. It doesn't have some of the, the added things that the iKilly does, but not everybody needs that kind of stuff. So just make sure you buy yourself a decent kill switch and do not run your rig until it's installed. Make sure you put Loctite in those bolts. One of the other things that a lot of guys run into, some people literally in the break-in process, they find themselves with hyperextended shocks. The shock will de-thread down here as it starts to hyperextend, eventually de-threading itself completely, and the rod will come down on top of your A-arm, causing the rod to bend. And when that happens, you're done. So before you run your rig, spend some money, go to Killer RC's website, and buy yourself some shock limiting straps. And guys, I could make this video super informative, very long and drawn out with pictures and links, but I don't have time for that. So I'm going to make it as quick and to the point as possible. Buy yourself some limiting straps. The front shocks, I've never had an issue with mine. Not many people do, from what I understand. I could be wrong. The rear shocks, they will hyperextend and they will blow apart and you will be mad. So go ahead, buy yourself some of these and you won't have any problems. There's another company out there out of Australia, or a guy out there named Swingy, calls himself Swingy P. He sells a great set, and Killer RC sells a great set. MIP, DavesMotors.com. They sell a great set. Detroit Performance RC sells the MIP straps. In fact, he's got a better price on them, so I would recommend heading over there if you want to buy the MIP straps. But these here do the trick, and they will save you a lot of headaches. Strip spur gears. You're going to run into this problem. It's inevitable, period. If you want to try to eliminate it the best possible way you can, buy yourself a complete Turtle Racing or Vertigo easy access clutch system. The Turtle Racing clutch system is a great system. I see guys using it on the big bores, the RC Maxes, the ALXs. They're running Turtle RC clutch systems. I'm talking about the entire system from here to here, okay? Or Vertigo, which you can also buy from Detroit Performance, I believe, as well as Dave's Motors or Vertigo directly. Makes a great product, great customer service, and will ultimately eliminate the issues you will have with your spur gears stripping out. I'm not going to get into why they strip out. I just made a video prior to this one. I had to delete the whole thing. I went on this giant ramble, and basically my head started to hurt. So yeah, buy yourself a nice clutch system and you won't have any issues. If you don't, trust me, you will regret it. That being said, I'll give you a quick idea, without getting into a long ramble, of what it entails. The Vertigo Easy Access System comes with each and every part you'll need to get your Baja to the point where it's reliable and you don't have to worry about spur gears anymore. Buy yourself a Hostile spur gear for $7 or $8. They're a similar material. They feel anyway like they're a similar material to the factory setup, the factory plastic spur gear. They use a dampener system where you have to push the dampeners in there. But from what I understand, they're actually a better material. It's white as opposed to the black one that comes with it. And I believe it has Hostile's name embedded in the back somewhere here. Yeah, you can't see it, but it's in there. And they also sell a carrier, an alloy carrier. I bought the alloy carrier for a few reasons. I won't get into it, but if you can afford to buy both, in my opinion, you should buy both, okay? And the system will be complete. Buy yourself either the Turtle Racing clutch system with a Hostile spur and alloy carrier. This is a Hostile alloy carrier, so both these parts are made by the same company, or buy the Vertigo Easy Access System, okay? And you'll be happy and thankful that you did. Now, as far as other issues, this one here isn't as common, but I had a problem with it, so I want to mention it because I've also, when I ran into it, some other guys mentioned that they had as well. The factory brake system, the actual caliper, has 2 pins sticking out of it. You'll notice one of mine's missing over on this side, okay? These pins will back out. They're only pushed in there and held in there by friction, okay, based on the tolerance they used. The pin will back out, and when it backs out and you lose it, it'll cause all kinds of damage in there. I'm not going to get into that either, but it will. So if you can afford to, they sell this on Rovin's website, King Motors website. They sell it all over the place. It's an alloy caliper with the 2 pins and 2 pads. So you'll end up having to, you'll have a spare set of new pads because, again, I'm recommending you do this right off the rip. But it comes with a system that has grub screws in it. Little tiny grub screw in there. You see that? My hands are so shaky. I'm sorry, guys. The phone won't focus. But there's a grub screw there that holds that pin in. And it can be Loctited, and you're good to go. You shouldn't have to worry about an issue there. So far, kill switch, bolts in the coil, hyper-extended shocks, buy yourself limiting straps, clutch system, Hostile spur. Okay, so you're going to literally remove some brand new factory stuff. You'll have a nice brand new factory spur laying around with a factory plastic spur carrier. You can use your original dampers that come in there. And up next we have the wiper arm system. The factory wiper arm system is just an absolute failure to begin with. This here is the spring. As you can see, it's completely compressed, and the bolt is protruding from the bottom as far as it possibly can. And that there was to try to regain some level of steering. And so what'll happen is and this can happen as early as the break-in process or maybe weeks down the line, you'll notice your Baja is not turning like it used to, and before you know it, you're making turns that look like you're driving a school bus, and you're wondering why. It's because the servo system, the actual servo saver itself, is failing. And so what you end up having to do is continue to tighten this bolt down to the point where, and this is where it's located, of course, to the point where it starts hitting the actual bottom of the chassis and you can't go anymore. So what ends up happening is some guys cut the bolt, or they use a shorter bolt, and they try to compress it even more. Well, as you can see, that spring is completely compressed. It doesn't matter how much more I try to drive that bolt in or how much shorter I cut it. That's it. That's all I'm getting out of it. Replace this entire system. Now, if I could have spent the money at the time, I would have bought the Turtle Racing one from Dave's Motors. But I went and bought one from eBay. Now, this one here is not. There's two out there. There's two alloy servo saver systems, wiper arm systems, whatever you want to call them. One is alloy, and it looks identical to this. The same exact style setup here. It's just all alloy. I don't recommend that one. Okay, that's not the one I'm suggesting. Some guys might have it. It may work good for them, but I don't recommend it. I bought one that's identical to the Turtle Racing one, and you'll see, you can't see in there now, but I've shown it in some of my other videos, so if you haven't seen it, the spring setup and the way it's designed is identical to the Turtle Racing one, and it's half the price. So if you can afford the Turtle Racing, I recommend get it. If you can't, get that one. It'll give your Baja the steering that it should have, and if installed right, you shouldn't have any issues. You're going to get the best possible steering that your Baja can have based on the servo that you have, the battery system that you have, the battery that you have, as far as the power that's getting to the servo. I heard a lot of things about these roving servos. Haven't had a single problem with mine. Throttle servo works great. Steering servo is a beast. Okay. As you can see, I upgraded all mine to alloy. That's an alloy horn, alloy push-pull rod, and wiper arm system. You don't need all that alloy there. You just need that wiper arm system or the Turtle Racing one. So, that being said, that's a common area for failure. A lot of guys will be like, guys, my servo's not working. I think I need to upgrade. What's the best servo to get? And I see that a lot. What's the best steering servo to get? Because they're assuming it's their steering servo. It has nothing to do with their steering servo. The one that's in it's a beast. In fact, when I turn this to the right or to the left and I try to force it the other way, it doesn't happen. It's strong. So make sure you do that. And one of the other things that I didn't mention initially, and a lot of guys, I think this is something I haven't done yet. When mine ran away from me, which like I said, I won't get into that story, it did end up getting bent. The chassis got bent. The plate underneath extends up to right about there where those two bolts are. And that nose piece is very vulnerable. And it cause a pretty good bend if it gets whacked the right way. They sell a brace or a plate for literally 20 bucks. I mean, upwards to like 60 depending on the name you buy. But I don't believe you have to buy, a $60 one. You could spend 15, 20 bucks, whatever it costs on eBay, and get yourself a front brace for it, because even if you don't have a runaway because of you were a dummy and didn't run a kill switch, you might hit something. And it's going to save you a lot of headaches. It is going to, of course, add some weight to the front of your rig. So if you're worried about weight, don't go with that. But that's something I would recommend. As far as air filters are concerned, your stock system should do the trick. I have this rigged up. This is not just a paper system that would allow a bunch of dirt in there. There's actual foam, oiled foam in there as an inner to this K&N style paper filter. But that's a video for a different day. Maybe I've already mentioned it in some of my other videos. I know a lot of guys, think these are the worst possible thing in the world, which they very well could be if they're used in the wrong environment and you're not extra protected like I am with the way I set mine up. Other than that, honestly, you should be good to go, guys. I definitely don't recommend using the factory battery, or if you do have to use it, buy yourself a spare. One thing Rovin doesn't do is specialize in making battery packs. Venom does, you know, a number of companies do, and that's what they do. They make chargers and batteries. So for $30, you could buy yourself a 5K NYMA pack and not have to worry about upgrading your servos because, you know, you want to use LiPo. And I run tanks through this, tanks and tanks and tanks without any battery issues. And when I charge it, it's nice and cool to the touch all the way through the charge. It's worth it to spend $30 on a Venom pack. Those Rovin packs, the one that was in this was like a 4500, or originally it came with like a 2000. I upgraded to a 4500 because I bought a Rovin kill switch. Don't buy that $20 kill switch, please. It doesn't work. I sent it back, exchanged it for a battery, and bought myself a Killer RC kill switch. But long story short, the battery in here is a piece of junk. It doesn't take a proper charge. Do not use those wall chargers that they come with. Throw that thing in the trash. If you don't own a good charger yet, on Amazon or eBay for 30 or 40 bucks, you can buy one of those IMAX BC6s or whatever they are, the clone, or you can spend an extra couple bucks and buy yourself the original one. They work great. They charge all different types of batteries, and it allows you to actually fully decharge and charge, or discharge and charge your battery, which will A, give it a longer life cycle, but B, just give you better run times and a healthy battery pack. These batteries are terrible. The ones that come in them, they cause so much heat in there. If you're charging it inside this unit and your battery's getting hot, which of course we know is a bad thing, you're melting wires. The actual shrink wrap that's around the pack starts ripping and tearing off. It's just, I know some people have had some good luck with the original batteries, but I've had 4 of them in different rigs. I own a King motor over there. That battery pack was junk. Just don't use the wall chargers. Buy yourself a decent charger if you don't have one, and if you can afford it, buy an additional battery pack. You'll find yourself not even having to use the original Rovin or King motor one as a spare. Other than that, guys, you literally should be good to go. You should be able to run your Baja, wide open throttle, balls to the wall, have fun all day. Okay. I'll get into some of the more detailed stuff in another video. This one for now is the best I could do for tonight. Just make sure you buy yourself limiting straps, a kill switch, a clutch system, and you got yourself a pretty reliable Baja, in my opinion. Of course, in that small brake alloy caliper, definitely worth it. The alloy wiper arm system, without a doubt, a must. Thanks for watching, guys.